That would.
Hello, Hugo.
Hey, Manuel, how are you, man?
How is life in Belgium?
That's great, thank you. How are you doing? Hey, I can see you there.
We have people in class and people remotely. I give them the ID, but I'm not sure if they. I wasn't requested by any password, so we just they can join us, right?
Usually yes, but there is no one else in the meeting. So
okay. Do you prefer for the Maniwa project that people connect through the laptops, because all of them got a laptop in class?
Yeah, well, it's really up to you. I think whatever is more comfortable for everyone in the class. I'm okay in both. Like you can be there and they can be in their laptops, and that is okay. Both are okay.
And I was thinking about the Maniwa bite.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll be okay if we are the both of us on the screen. Apart from the both of us, if the both of us they are in the screen, it's fine. Okay. And then the rest they can be or they cannot be there. If it's up to them. Okay. If they are there, it will look better. But both are okay.
Okay. We'll see. Good.
Yeah. So shall we wait for the others in the?
Yeah, we have a break and they are coming in just 30 seconds. Yes.
Cool. Okay, there is one.
You have the control there, right? If somebody is asking for.
Yes, I can also make them panelists like this.
Okay, there is a guy there.
Jaime. Yeah.
Jaime Mujica.
Yeah, and now I make him panelist.
Okay, good. Hugo asked me if you want to join the Zoom through your laptops or not. I mean, it's up to you.
Because then it's not echoing like in the class.
Yeah. Okay. It's fine. Okay. Okay. Hugo, the floor is yours.
Perfect. Jaime, do you want to stay like this? Well, it's really up to you. So, the webinar is being recorded, and if you prefer not to be as a panelist, Jaime, just let me know. But otherwise, I will.
I don't mind.
It's perfect. Cool. So, thank you for having me here, Manuel, and the rest of the class. Is it my understanding that this is at least the second class in terms of biomimicry?
Yes.
Maybe you have some basics already, and what kind of things have you seen already, Manuel?
We have seen just the philosophy, the basic of the discipline about how nature can inspire us, some approaches about sustainability, and today we have been covering several different examples from different strategies. So something like that. Nothing about life principles yet. Nothing about the methodology, right? Mm-hmm. So it's really very. I would say superficial. I mean, I'm not following the classical approach. Okay, so
yeah, perfect.
I would say that introduce yourself. Where are you from? Why are you here? And whatever you want.
Yeah, and do you see my screen now? I'm sharing the screen, but I don't know if you've seen it.
We are seeing now 3 different screens.
No, you are not seeing my screen. Let me. Jaime, do you see it? Because it doesn't seem that they are looking at it. Maybe you have to change.
Myself?
I don't know how it works in your screen.
But if I'm sharing
this. I'm sharing my screen and Jaime is looking the shared screen, but you don't seem to be looking at it.
It's probably in...
I can see it.
Yeah. But in the classroom, you can see that they have 3 screens, but they don't see my screen. Yeah.
It's probably being shown on this monitor.
Maybe like drag it out.
Where? Let me try. All right.
Yeah, and there. That's
Yeah.
the one. Yeah. Perfect. So thank you for joining today. My name is Hugo Araujo, and I'm Mexican Colombian, and I'm living in Belgium. So I'm also a certified biomimicry professional. That it is a certification that has been awarded by the Biomimicry 3.8 or the Biomimicry Institute. And I did a program of 2 years with 4 different disciplines. And during these 2 years, we visited 7 different ecosystems all over the world. And the 4 different disciplines that were participating there were biology, design, engineering, and business. And I'm part of the business section of biomimicry. However, I'm also into design and engineering. So let's say that the main goal of this program was to teach us how to collaborate in an interdisciplinary way, and how to bring biology as a way to communicate in between ourselves and in between disciplines. So please, if you have any doubt or any question, feel free to interrupt me.
I'm not sure if there are a couple of people waiting in the waiting room.
No, they are able to look at it as a panel, like not as a panel. They're able to look at it as a viewer. Like they're on the call, but they're not like they're only able to view it.
Because we have 5 participants there, and we only see 1. So
yeah.
So you need to do something. All right, we have another one now. Maybe another one. Right.
Yeah. So now we are all panelists. Is that okay?
Yes. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah. So what I wanted to share today with you is this way of biomimicry thinking. And if you have seen a little bit on sustainability and biomimicry, then I'm also representing the school of the biomimicry thinking. So maybe you are familiar with the design thinking approach, and you understand what this kind of thing is on thinking, or not at all? No? Okay, so I'm going to explain it one step at a time. So let's start with the part of biomimicry. So biomimicry, as the easiest way to explain it, is the imitation from nature of a form, a process, or a system. And when we say about thinking, so putting together biomimicry thinking, we are also adding pillars, principle, and methodology. So this is what I like to call biomimicry thinking, and this is what I've been certified to. So my understanding for today is that I will share with you these 2 parts, what is biomimicry and what is the biomimicry thinking. So you can be inspired, and then at the end of the presentation, in the second part, I will be explaining you about what I've been doing with this kind of approach, so you have some real examples about what is happening. So in terms of the biomimicry thinking, as I said, you have the process, the form, and the system, and the method, the principles, and the pillars. So let's start by the form. So there are different kinds of approaches. Let me just share the screen in a way that you can see the whole desktop. And for example, when we say something about cicada wings, they have a specific nanostructure. So you can see the second screen that is there in the As Nature. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so you can see, for example, we like to go to this place that is called asnature.org, and we can see that the cicadas, they have an structure that helps them to shed water, dirt, and bacteria, and reflects light to avoid detection by predators. So this is one clear example of how the shape and the form, it is important. If we go to the morpho butterflies, we also see another example that is just with this nanostructure as well. They actually diffract the light and they create colors. So whenever we see a blue color in the butterflies, it is a color that is not created by ink, but it is created by reflection. So we call that a structural color. If we go to the shark skin, for example, they have a specific topography and a specific skin that reduces the possibilities to bacteria to stay there. So this is very important because it's being used for different kinds of surfaces that could be in hospitals, for example, to be kind of antibacterial. So, and everything happens via shape and surface topography. So this is the way of the form. And then if we go to the process, we have different kinds of process. So for example, the voting process of the macaques, the macaques, they use simple voting to process how to stay together. So all these kind of strategies could be, again, looked into as nature. And we also have the bioluminescence. So for example, the vibrofishery bacteria, it turns into light by synchronization. So this is called quorum sensing. And this is something that could be inspiring for democracy, for example. So once that they have a specific population density in the belly of a Hawaiian bobtail squid, which is kind of a calamar or a squid, but in Spanish is calamar. And they reach some kind of a consensus, which is called quorum sensing, and they turn into light. So these kind of processes are very inspiring, and we can do many things with this. So another example are the bees and the waggle dance, as we call it. And this is to signal what is kind of a good spot to go. So when they are looking into a new hive, they come and they dance. So usually the old bees, they go and they find a new spot and they come as pioneering. They come and they dance. And the one that brings more attention after the dance is the one that takes another one that goes and comes back, and by dancing, they're actually reaching quorum. So this is a way of a process. When we go into systems, then we see the mycorrhizal fungi, for example, which is what we call mycelium, and nutrients underground, they are distributed by these mycorrhizal fungi. And it is used for the whole forest, for the plants. Or the bad immune system that we know it right now is kind of getting known because of the COVID, but actually the immune system it's very tolerant for high level infection. So there is so much to learn from them than just thinking that they are wrong. Or the human eye in the way that process information in a very efficient way. So I don't know if there is any doubt until here about the three parts of form, process, and system for someone. Is that okay? Can we just make signal? Cool. So when we move into biomimicry thinking, then we also have a process. And this is what I learned also in the school, because whoever wants, they can go into just imitating the shape, the process or the system. But what we have learned there is a way to create something. So for example, we start by scoping, so understanding what are the possibilities, discovering the biology behind the kind of organism, how can we use them, and then evaluate it through the life principles, which are the principles that we also use in biomimicry. And very important, we have a specific biological taxonomy. So the taxonomy, it is a process where we have categorized the different biological functions. And by knowing these functions, we know what kind of things we want to achieve. So for example, the taxonomy says that for processing information, we have to compute, process signals, navigate, or send signals or environmental cues. And for doing this, then we have temperature, pain, balance, touch, and mechanical forces. So all these kind of things could be helpful for designing something specific. It depends on the problem that we're trying to solve. So then we go into the life principles, which are, let's say, a collection of things that our living systems do very often. So, for example, they evolve to survive. They're always resource efficient. They keep adapting to changing conditions. They integrate development with growth instead of just growth, but they really integrate both. And they are locally attuned and responsive, and they use life-friendly chemistry. So that means that it is water-based chemistry. And when we think about sustainability, I believe that if we follow these kind of principles, then we are closer to be aligned with nature. So that means be aligned with life. And that is kind of the things that we would like to achieve, because right now we feel that the problem with just thinking about sustainability is that you are taking models that are not completely aligned with the context, which is a living context. And then the last but not the least important, I would say that is the main distinction, is that we don't use biomimicry for everything. So for example, we don't use it for war. We don't use it for weapons. We don't use it for destructing life, but it is more for creating conditions conducive to life. We want to say truth to biology. It is not just about mythology, but it is really about emulate. And we like to do it from nature. So if you want to do this, you also need to be reconnected with nature. So in my case, I spent about 4 years in isolation in nature with my family, living in a coastal dune in the Yucatan Peninsula. And this is how I started to understand how the ecosystem worked. And by doing this, I developed the system that you have seen, like it works as a mind map, because then everything is connected. So just to summarize, in biomimicry, we like to say that we are about creating conditions conducive to life. Until here, is there any doubt? Any question? Is it so clear? Okay.
Okay, Hugo. Yes, I think they are a little bit tired.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay, sorry. So my company is called Seven Vortex, and well, our statement is positive humanity, because we believe that humanity is positive, and we need to find our niche in the planet so we can add value. Right now, what we are doing is using all this process, the biomimicry thinking process, to better understand how to regenerate the planet. So understanding that the previous world is more towards degeneration. Currently, we're talking about sustainability, and the future is more about regeneration, where it's more conservation, bioregions, collaboration, optimization, and watersheds, for example. So how a bioregion will work in connection with its water sources. So complexity is getting higher, and what we want to do there is to ask the question how to take better decisions. So if we are in this kind of climate crisis, how are we going to take better decisions? So by using the biomimicry thinking methodology, and by using nature-inspired solutions, then we have come to develop what we call a digital membrane. So this is where I am, and a membrane on its own, like a cellular membrane, a cell membrane. It is about protection, transportation, and communication. So how can we actually make use of the internet so we can create this functionality of protecting the life, transporting information, and bringing optimal communication in between the different beings? So all this is about complexity management, and it's about real-time complexity management. So right now, when we think about what we learn in the school, is more about quantitative, but we need also to include qualitative. We think about top-down approach with the governments, but we also need a bottom-up approach that happens in nature. So all these approaches are valid in nature, and we have been dealing with these issues for many years now. And by using biomimicry, we've been able to create a system, this digital membrane, for real-time complexity management. So one of the things that we have created is a community hive. So how to connect the community by using the shape, but also the functionality of a hive, and fostering collaboration in the community. So we have done it, for example, for the biomimicry community. And by using this, we are kind of creating batches in different places, and understanding where are the possibilities of collaboration, where is the common ground in between different communities and different people around the world in biomimicry. Another one is about the knowledge ecosystem. So what you have seen is the Seven Vortex, and Seven Vortex is a free platform where you can actually create ecosystem maps. So this is now present in more than 4,500 cities and 160 countries all over the world. And there are students and people all over the world giving different perspectives. So for example, this is about the COP26 in Glasgow, and it's a project in Panama that is going to bring an arc bamboo to the place. So they are using this to be able to see the full design. They are integrating some kind of pictures and saying who are the partners and how they are participating with each other. So this is bringing the connectivity of an ecosystem into a kind of a mind map. There are many ways to create it, but one of the most important thing is that we have imitated the energy exchanges that happens in nature. So for example, let's think about humanity and let's think about the planet. So right now, our relationship with the planet is that we are extracting resources and the planet is losing its energy. So this is a predatory relationship, and we have different kinds of relationships. So what we would like to do with regeneration is actually to create a positive relationship. So by mapping these kind of things, we can see how the system is connected, and we can create different kinds of relationships in between the nodes. So this is the narrative of the ecosystems. Then in impact evaluation, we have put a system that is about Costa Rica Regenerativa. So they are using these rings to understand how a regenerative agriculture process works. And I'm just gonna show you like the possibilities of evaluation. So they have decided to evaluate regenerative agriculture in different ways, and we have set up a gradient. So once that you choose one variable here or many, then you will see the rings that they are telling you a story as a dashboard that could be like the tree rings. You know, the trees, they have rings, and this means cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3, cycle 4. So this is telling us how this is improving or how this is not actually improving. So this helps us to take real-time decisions in regenerative agriculture projects in Costa Rica. In terms of a metabolic earth, we are giving a different perspective on how the planet works, and we have developed something that is called Virtual Gaia. And with Virtual Gaia, we are giving a different perspective on the whole planet. So if you are familiar with the Gaia theory, this is really about understanding how the whole system is working. So we have enhanced by visualization the rivers, and we have put the bioregions around here, and we have linked the maps, the knowledge maps that we have created. So there is knowledge that is connected to the territory. And as we can see here, for example, in the Amazons, we have like more humidity and more rivers. And this is the tropical core of our planet. So it is very important if we want to address climate change issues that we understand that our planet has a tropical core and that we need to address the problem as a system, as a whole integrated system. So unless we understand it, we're gonna keep just focusing on spots in the issues. So this is what we like to say, that our set of tools, it is about speed content and speed opinion, and it's meant to for decision makers to take optimal decisions, but specifically aligned with life. So this is, like, let's say, the quick version of my presentation, and I would like to know if there is some kind of interaction in this part, if you have questions or if you are interested in something specific that I have presented.
Yeah, I actually have a question. Right.
Please.
So you showed us like 2 websites, I think, with
Yes.
like one of them was the 7 Vortex. And then you showed us a different one. Are they both your websites?
Yeah, so there are websites that I'm working with different projects, but yes, let's say they are open, so you can go and visit them. If
And so
one will,
and they're always active?
yes. So
Okay.
there is one that is called virtualgaia.com. That is one. This one is Regenerate Costa Rica, but this is more kind of a working platform for specific integrants of the project. and the 7 vortex is the other one, and this is completely open, and this is already having participation from all over the world.
I think that's really cool, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you. So if you put, for example, biomimicry here, then you see what the content it is about from different people all over the world. And you will see, I don't know, this Sarah has done something to let's just put it here, about regenerative food systems. And if you go, for example, for teaming, then another biomimicry professional has done something about superorganisms. So if we want to, let's say, understand how a superorganism work, of course you have to buy her book, but here you can have a specific insights on the patterns of the behavior of a superorganism. And I think this is a nice example of how the government should work, how the nations should work, and how we should experience like a different kind of distributed leadership, reciprocity, and sharing. And this is all from nature. Another question? And thank you for the congrats.
Yes, another question, Hugo.
I had a question, but it's more on the business side. Is this a for-profit venture, or is this just an open resource for everyone to use?
Which one? The 7 vortex?
Pardon me?
The 7 vortex, it is open and it is free. And the business model is that if you want to create curations, like maps or vortex, as I call them, private, then you have to pay a license. Okay. So the idea here is if it's adding so much value and you are using it for professional purposes, then you will need a private license. So, and at this point, it is 100 euros per year, the license. And if you don't want a private, then if you are about sharing information, then it is for free. And this is what we can see there in the open creative source.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other question?
So maybe something interesting from Virtual Gaia. If you are interested, is you can explore it, of course, but there we can see the different kinds of networks around regeneration that are happening. So for example, the biomimicry networks, the ecosystem restoration camps, regenerative communities networks. So donut economics, so for example, donut action labs, regeneration collab. And if we put them all together, then we can see that this is something that is happening globally. And this is what the visualizations are about. I think we need to get inspired and realize that this is a great opportunity in the time to make a difference. And we are just trying to connect all this knowledge and different kinds of people.
But I didn't quite understand what is that, because well, I'm reading that book, the Donut Economics, so I didn't like. Can you
Yeah,
explain
sure.
it again, please?
So this is just a visualization of the planet. And what we want to represent here is the presence of these networks around the world. So in the Donut Economics, they have something that is called the Donut Action Lab. Let me just take this one out. And this Donut Action Lab, Kate Raworth gave me let me take this one out. Kate Raworth gave me the list of where is the presence of where are present the Donut Action Labs. So after the book, it was very interesting for them and for many people. So they kind of self-organized in different regions to work around this possibility of the donut economics. So for example, there are two main examples in the donut economics from Kate. So Kate is a user from 7 Vortex, for example. So if we go to 7 Vortex, sorry, 7 Vortex, and
I'm not sure they are really happy with the donut economy. Have you heard of the donut economy?
Yeah.
I'm reading the book.
Yeah, so Kate did a contest and used 7 Vortex to connect the answers of the contest from different people. So the contest was the 8th way to think like a 21st century economist. So she used this visualization to let everyone to explore where the solutions were clustered. So since she became a close collaborator with us, then I also asked for the Virtual Gaia part. And in Virtual Gaia, we are trying to map different initiatives around regeneration. And this is the donut action labs that are present in the world. So as I was saying, there are two main examples. One is Amsterdam City, and the other one is Costa Rica Regenerativa. And Costa Rica Regenerativa is a project that you have seen that we are using the rings for evaluating the impact. So we are directly like pushing this movement globally. Let's say biomimicry is behind all these efforts as well. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Who else?
Anything else, Hugo?
No, I mean, I wanted to share this kind of a state-of-the-art part. And the second thing that, and the last thing that I wanted to share is an invitation to a new season, a new kind of show that we are putting together. So as you know, your Professor Manuel is one of the reference of biomimicry in Iberia and in Spain and in Europe. So we met each other in the Amazon in Colombia in a biomimicry congress, and this is one of the reasons why I'm around. And we have developed this show which is called Manigua. So Manigua, it means that it is the spirit of the jungle. So it's a word that we learned from the indigenous people in the Amazon, in the Amazonia, and we would like to touch there topics such as natural capital, indigenous culture, biomimicry, deep ecology, new bioeconomies such as like the donut economic regeneration. And this is just an open invitation for this show that it will be in Spanish, but I think it will be super interesting. So there are 60 minutes of cross-pollination with 5 minutes introduction, 10 minutes presentation, 20 minutes interview, and 20 minutes questions. The guests are going to be key actors, experts, and the audience is for university professionals and business. And we're going to have, as if you are interested in the Donut Action Lab, Carlota is going to be there in December. Costa Rica Regenerativa from the other experience from the Donut will be in November. And then we'll have different kinds of people. So for example, we're trying to get Jungle Zvoni, which is one of the indigenous people of the north part of Europe. I don't know if you were aware that in Europe, there were indigenous people living on the top of the Scandinavian countries. And it is very cool, very interesting just to see, because he has been living in the Amazons as well and in the Patagonia. So we are doing this together with the international network of biomimicry in the Amazonians and the University for International Collaboration. So please feel free to be around. And I don't know if you have something else to add, Manuel, around here.
Thank you for your outstanding presentation and design, and also to open our minds to work around complexity, having a look at the systemic holistic vision, and also to create community, because you are doing a really important work, not only introducing biomimicry as a philosophy, but also creating the culture, how nature can help us in this moment of our history. And for sure, I'm sure that some of the students will take note about how the 7 Vortex and other different platforms can be used to, in a very dynamic and outstanding design process. But also the introduction of our new project about Manigua. Most of the students in class are not Spanish speakers. We were talking about the possibility to include some subtitles, maybe. So I think this is the ending of the session, because we are here from 6. It's really dark outside. I think the students are a little bit tired. Not sure if they are ready to go to a party or something. Sure.
Well, you should go to a party now. Tuesday.
So thank you very much, Hugo. If you have any other question, any comment, right? It's
Just when is the event taking place?
the event of Manigua.
Yeah.
Manigua is going to be every Wednesday, right?
Every second Wednesday of the month.
Every
over 6 months.
Wednesday at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock needs to be fair with other timetable around the world, and this is also confirmed. Very interesting. The Basque Biodesign Center. This is an expert of biomaterials. She had a materiotech. I'm not sure if this is English. It's like a store of biomaterials, thinking about cradle to cradle, from waste to, and she's going to be a very, very interesting. I mean, all of them are very, very interesting, selected. And this is just the first session, and we are pretty excited because I think it's never done in Spanish. We try to enhance the 500 million Spanish speakers around the world, because maybe you can confirm this, that most of the information around biomimicry, Hugo, is in English, right?
It is, and this is a big challenge, because we are about being locally attuned and responsive. So we need to deliver content in all different languages, and of course our mother tongue is Spanish. So the show starts on November 10th, and at 6 p.m. And I'm pretty sure that you are going to give them the invitation and the webinar link. And I also put my email in the chat. But if you want to know it, is H as Hugo, h@7vortex.com.
If any, because I'm going to have we have another session, the last session. If anybody wants something from you, I will, with your permission, I will share with them your email or whatever you ask. Okay?
Please, and thanks for your attention and keeping this energy alive.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, Hugo. Thank you very much.
Ciao.
Bye-bye. Thanks.